Hi everyone. So today on Boss Banter, we have William Rojas. He is a real estate agent with LPT Realty. He does a lot of outbound prospecting and prospecting for listings, and he is also a Prospect Boss customer. So we wanted to have him on the show today just to ask some questions and get to know a little bit more about him. So thanks for being on the show.
Yep, thank you for having me. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So, how did you get started? Well, first you could tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go into how you really got started with being in real estate.
Yeah, sure. My name is William Rojas. I'm located in Central Florida, Orlando, pretty close to Mickey Mouse. I guess you could say that's how most people recognize where we're at. And I've lived here my whole entire life. I was born in Greenwich, Connecticut, lived in Colombia, South America for about a couple years, came back and just had I've always had a thing for entrepreneurship since I was younger and getting into working for myself, I guess you could say. That's a little bit about myself.
Yeah. So, what made you want to get started in real estate exactly? Because you said you've always been entrepreneur minded. So, did you do anything beforehand?
Yeah, so funny enough, previously when I was in basically I was in retail, I was in a sales atmosphere. I used to be a really big avid cyclist. I still kind of do it now. And when I was in the cycling industry, I used to sell really high-end bikes. That was my job. We're talking about bicycles with no motors that cost between ten to $20,000. So that was one of my passions. And then after that, I went into property management, and then I was the BDM and marketing lead generation person there. And then I was there for about a year, and then I decided, while my wife was pregnant, that I was going to take the deep dive into real estate and not take any income and make a little sacrifice to get kind of a reward out of it. So ever since then, I've never looked back, and here I am today.
Yeah. Do you happen to know the brand Thompson bike, like Thompson
Brant
bikes? Yeah, there's
Thompson?
Thompson.
No,
Mhm.
I don't.
Okay.
No.
They're like a
Is that a
higher,
mountain bike?
I think so. My friend does their
Yeah.
marketing.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my main thing, we're in Florida. So
Hmm.
in Florida, it's super flat here. So we don't have that many mountain bike trails. So you have to kind of travel you have to basically pack your stuff and go to the area to ride mountain bikes. But what I mostly did was road bike. And so I used to compete as well, which was pretty cool as well. And it was just a lot easier to ride around here, because you just leave your house. You don't have to ritual impact for the whole day. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Florida
So
is flat. I mean, we're basically in Florida here. We're in Savannah, so we're pretty close. But yeah.
right.
Okay. Well, that's really cool. So was it challenging starting that new chapter with real estate while you were also starting, a new personal chapter with your wife being pregnant?
Yeah, of course, always. So when you get into the industry, you have to figure out a path that you can attack in order to get the clients. And so when I first jumped into the industry, I was on a team, and that was more for like safety because they were going to provide me opportunities to close deals. So I was like, okay, so this is going to be a volume game. Lo and behold, I started realizing that that's not all what it seems as far as leads that get produced online. So I started to get coached by this really famous coach. His name's Brandon Mulrennan. And ever since I started getting coached by him, I had the opportunity of learning the industry of prospecting. And I jumped into for sale by owners right off the cuff in like one of the craziest markets of 2021. So at the beginning of 2021. Um, so at that point, I was able to capitalize on a couple of people that I knew. And then from there, I started learning how to develop relationships and give value to individuals, and kind of be on the hunt for um for opportunities, which I've ever since then, that's all I do every single day. And I love it. It's not for everybody, but I do love doing it.
Yeah, it's definitely not for everybody. Turnover can be pretty high with agents, but people who are willing to do it, people who are very entrepreneur minded, like you said, I believe that they are typically the most successful with it. So I was looking
100%.
at your website, and I noticed that you started a marketing agency doing lead generation. Is that something that you still do?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
No, no.
No.
So I stopped because the that industry is really not that it's difficult, but it's very competitive
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
different aspect because it's like a race to the bottom, is what I realized in most cases. And so I decided to step away from that. Actually, funny story, I was prospecting for my marketing company. And when I was prospecting for the marketing company, I realized that I got in touch with the loan officer, and he said, why are you calling me to service to do lead generation? Why don't you just jump into the business? And since that time, I was like, whoa, like, why don't I do it? Like, it's just like
Hmm.
real estate is probably the easiest course you could get. I mean, the easiest license you could get, 1, 2 weeks, you could be done with the course. And then all of a sudden now you have opportunities of making, money that you'd never even think. I mean, since I've been outbound prospecting, I mean, I probably make like you can make as much as a brain surgeon as long as you're consistent over time. So I found that to be very interesting. So I was like, my brother-in-law was in the business. I had friends that were builders. So everybody that I was surrounded around were all in real estate. I was like, let me just jump in and see what happens. So that's what I did. I took the risk. We jumped in and here I am.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear it went out
Yeah.
well. What do you mean, a race to the bottom? Because I thought that quote was funny. Like to describe a marketing agency or a term
So
was funny, I should say.
yeah, so in most cases, the thing I don't like is like in marketing agencies is that they're always over promising and under delivering. So
Yeah.
everybody's already conditioned.
Yeah.
Everybody's always conditioned to know that uh, even though they talk a good game, in most cases the success rate is very low as far as like them actually generating you opportunities. That's another reason why I found value in outbound prospecting was because the conversion rates I knew in my head for like Facebook or Instagram ads were like less than 3%.
Hmm.
Where in real estate prospecting, your opportunities increase to at least 10. So at that point, I just have to play the volume. Same thing with real estate leads, but I can't target people that actually you get more tire kickers, right? So with expireds, cancels, for sale by owners, these are people that are actually raising their hand and they're like, hey, I want to sell,
Hmm.
where most industries they don't like in most like lead generation platforms, you're just getting people that just click on a lead magnet, or I like to call it a lead trap, and then you're just checking to see if they'd be interested at some point in selling. So it's a little bit different. Not saying that inbound is a bad thing, but I mean, I feel like for new agents or people that are getting into the industry, the failure rate's super high because most people just sit back and wait for things to happen. But if you know that your greatest opportunity is going to be giving a phone call to somebody else that's raising their hand and saying, "Hey, I'm a for sale by owner. I want to sell and I got to move." Why not just give them a call and see if there's an opportunity there? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what do you typically use for your, prospecting then, like FISBO expired?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's been a development. So my first year was heavily FISBO. Then we didn't really have that many expired cancels, as you can imagine, during the pandemic ish areas because things were actually selling and everybody was moving to Florida. So obviously that made things a little different on that aspect. So then once that started picking up again, I started jumping into expired cancels. And it's absolutely amazing because you can have a listing the same day. Not only that, you have people that are coming to you specifically with they're willing to pay a commission, they need to move and they need to do something. So the opportunity is 10 times more higher that you could get a listing that even that same week. So the numbers start to add up quickly. Let's say, for instance, I don't know, let's say you were to get one listing appointment a day and you were to convert that on a 25% conversion. Let's say like you got one listing a week, that's already 50 opportunities or sales that you can have in 1 year. That'll put you ahead of any top producer. And I think a lot of people miss that, especially when they're looking to get into this industry. They're just sitting back and hoping and praying that their friends and family are there to, to use them, which might be the case, but in most cases, for some reason, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, do you use our solution at all? Like any of that data? Like
Which
our
one?
ProspectBoss use any of the like the Fishbone
Yeah.
Inspire data?
Yeah. So I have used their data. It's been pretty good for me and the
Hmm.
market that I'm in. I also use the circle dial
Hmm.
that you guys provide as well. And I haven't had any issues at all with the
That's
data.
good.
Actually, I'm pretty happy with it. To be honest, because same thing with those with those leads, everybody promises like accuracy, but not
Hmm.
everybody is super accurate. So, but I've seen nothing but really good things from Prospect Boss as far as data goes.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to have you on as well. You've been a good help to our company, I think. S-
Thank you.
So, what advice would you give to those who are thinking about maybe doing a career switch and starting in real estate? Because most people like you, are doing something different and they pivot into it. So, if they're thinking about it, what would be some advice that you would give?
Yeah, 100%. So the first thing I would say was probably pick something that fits you. That's the first thing that I'd probably look into. So there's several ways of generating leads. You just got to find something that works for you. Then invest 6 months, 3 to 6 months of consistency into that one source that you're really working on. And then you'll start to see a conversion because a lot of people don't realize is that we work on 3 month cycles. So for this 3 months, will pay me for the next 3 months. So you just got to be prepared for that. And then just do something every day, just be intentional every single day and just finding what works for you, you know? So that's
Yeah.
probably something as far as advice goes, I would tell like a new person coming into the industry. And just remember the failure rate's super high, but it's up to you, to take it to that next level.
Do you recommend doing it on the side at first or just going full force?
Yeah, so if you have 9 to 5, we have people on my I have this is my me and my brother-in-law's team office. So he we have a lot of part-timers in our business and our objective is to get them out of being part-time. And the way you do that is you could definitely do it as a side hustle. The most important thing that you have to remember though is if you do get paid off of a real estate commission, just don't treat it as a bonus, keep it away, put it because the thing is the commissions are high. So people start spending that money
Hmm.
and not thinking about, well, I can make this first check into 20 checks possibly. How can I do that? You know what I mean? So like reinvesting in yourself and making sure that you're able to like jump over those hurdles of finding out what works for you as far as generating business.
Yeah. So if you could do anything differently, you would say, if you could go back in time, what would you do differently?
Whew. If I were to go, well, for real estate or in general?
Either or, maybe both.
Okay, so in general, I would have gotten to this business right. I wouldn't have gone to school. I tried to go to school, and financially at that time, it was very, very expensive for me. And my life was different. My perspective on life was different. I was trying to become actually a doctor. And so what ended up happening is I decided to walk away from that because it wasn't in the plans. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I accepted that as a human. Once I turned 30, I guess I had like a 30 life crisis. And I decided at that point that like I'm good at speaking with people. I'm good in sales. I'm good at having people understand what's going on, in whatever I'm speaking about. So I decided, okay, I think this is the path for me. Let me just let that go. So I guess one thing I would say was I would have gotten into this a long time ago, and I probably would have been way more ahead than what I am now, but that's okay. I
Yeah.
mean, you're made to be like your journey, it makes you who you are. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So you would say just as a whole, just starting sooner. A lot of people feel that way too, but like you
Yeah.
said, whenever you turn a certain age, things start to click or your perspectives change. So you're doing well
100.
now. So that's all that
Yeah.
matters.
Right. 100%. Yep. I agree.
Yeah. So what do you see for the future of the real estate market? So I know you're in Florida, so everyone's moving to Florida is what everyone likes to say, but it is true. So what do you really see for that market in particular? And then maybe the surrounding
Yeah.
ones.
Um, so real estate's in a weird place right now because of obviously the economy at the time of recording this. But the future of real estate has always been positive. I could say myself, like from my first purchase to my next purchase of home, I've always seen an increase in appreciation. So I think that's one very important thing to distinguish when it comes to like planning for the future as far as real estate goes. And on the purchase, like if somebody's planning to purchase or something, but in the business side of things, like for real estate agents, it's very interesting where it's going. In most cases, it's been traditionally almost the same. A lot of people in industries have tried to run us out by using like softwares and stuff like that to purchase people's homes, like Open Door or these other iBuyers that exist in the market. But nobody could replace the human interaction that we provide to make sure that things go smoothly in the process. So I think that's one thing that people have to remember is like this whole AI thing and things that are coming out are great, but nothing's ever going to replace like the humanistic aspect of getting around certain situations that a robot or computer won't know. You know what I mean? So I think there's a great future still for sales in real estate. And if you're planning on doing something as far as purchasing or selling, I feel like there's plenty of room still to move upward. So in any market, I mean, obviously there's other markets that are different. Like Georgia's pretty popular too. Like a lot of people are
Mhm.
moving there as well. You have people that are, and there's some states that people are leaving as well. Like out west, they're all coming out east. Vice versa. Some people are going. I knew a lady. She moved from Florida out west because that's where she was from originally. Some people are moving back to where they're from. So the future of real estate is always great. It's nothing like it. I think a lot of people live in the PTSD of 2008,
Mhm.
2007, 2006 because it's been so recent. But there's been nothing but good things happening since from now until I mean I can't predict the future. My crystal ball is in the punch or in the repair shop right now, so I can't predict the future. But leading indicators state that we're still on a great trajectory as of right now.
Yeah. Savannah itself, a lot of people are moving here. We have a giant Hyundai plant being built, Bryan County, which is a couple counties over from Chatham, which is where Savannah it actually is in Chatham County. But it's really going to raise our rent even more and all of our pricing even more than it already is.
I
So
love Savannah. Me
that'll
and my
be
wife go there
interesting.
all the time. We love it. It's absolutely beautiful. The historical aspect of it is amazing. It's probably like you with me and Disney, right? Like we don't care about Disney too much. I mean, we have year passes just because we have a daughter, but
Mhm.
like we're not like infatuated with it. And that's probably the same thing with you on the historical aspect. You're probably not infatuated with that little area. You're just like, oh, it's there. We go there
Yes
sometimes.
and no. I love it. The scenic wise at least. Our
Right. The
office has a
scenic part
view.
is amazing.
Our office has a view of Spanish moss trees, the giant ones. So me and my coworkers, all of our offices face like the trees. So it's
Oh,
nice.
that's
Like when you're
cool.
stressed, you just look and it's like so beautiful.
It is
Then
pretty
we have
there.
all the marshy areas too, the coastal. So that's like really pretty to look at too. Because Orlando is landlocked, so that's
Yeah.
little, it's very industrial there. We just went to a real estate conference.
Oh, the Orlando Realty. Yeah, I
Mhm.
saw that on social media that you guys went there. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a good conference.
Nice.
So what do you do? Like, what does your daily schedule look like for prospecting leads? Do you have a set amount of time that you do it every day or weekly?
Yeah. So honestly, in the morning, I'll wake up like around 4:35. I work out, then I get ready for the day, drop off the baby, and then I get to work somewhere around 7:30. I start making my calls right at 8 o'clock and start setting appointments from those first few calls. And then I'll prospect for around 4 hours, give or take. And that gives me what I need for my business plan. So I can reach my goals. And so I keep track of all that just to make sure that I'm hitting what I need to hit to reach the goal that I want to reach, right? So that's pretty much how I plan out my day. The afternoons are made for just appointments. And then if I don't have an appointment, I'll prospect probably the rest of the day to generate opportunities for the future, long-term opportunities for the future.
Yeah, so you do your prospecting early in the morning and then you do any showings and stuff in the afternoon typically.
So I don't focus on the buyer side.
Hmm.
My brother-in-law does that. He's always
Okay.
done that. He's loved that. I'm more on the listing side. So
Okay.
my opportunities only come from just cold calls, 100%. So
Okay. So when you say listing, it's just the process of getting the home on the market,
So it's
basically.
basically it's a little bit more complicated than that. So somebody will, let's say for instance somebody fired their agent or they are out of contract with their agent. I go there and try to sell myself against like every other agent in the market, and then after they hire me, then I sell the house. So I have to sell three times on the phone, in person, and then the house. So
Okay.
it's pretty difficult, but it's super rewarding because if somebody wasn't able to do it the first time and you're able to do it the second time, obviously they're gonna see like the value in you more so than the other person. And then it goes the same thing for any other lead source that I call. So it's just earning their business, their trust, selling their house, and then that's it. So selling the appointment, the house, selling the appointment, myself, and then the house. So
Yeah.
yeah.
How long does it usually take to get for that process? Do you have a typical turnaround time for that?
It could be like I just signed one last Friday. It's a $780,000 house in Davenport, which is the short-term rental area. That one we spoke 1 month ago, and he wants to move forward recently. So then he called me up and said that he wanted to move forward. And then so we signed on Friday. We're taking pictures this Friday, and hopefully I'll have it up on Saturday so we could start the process of selling that one.
Okay. I know all of that varies when you
Right.
speak to different agents. Some are quicker than
Yeah.
others.
Yep.
How many, like, do you have a typical time of points of contact it usually takes to get someone listed? Or is it a similar thing
Um,
where it just depends?
It depends. So it depends on the process and where they are in the sales funnel, right? So if they're at the top of the sales funnel, it's going to take several calls before
Hmm.
they decide to do something. And in most cases, real estate's very interesting because it's like a transactional when people are ready, not when we want. So
Yeah.
it's not like, I don't know, let's say somebody and then they have to make sure that they're living somewhere else.
Okay, so how do you go about using our ProspectBoss system in your daily business practices if you do?
Yeah, so I definitely use it. I absolutely love it. I was stuck in a rut for a couple months with these issues with can spam and things of that nature, and you guys made it 10 times more easier to get a hold of people and combat that issue because as long as they're not, yeah, as long as they're not on the DNC, like they're scrubbed against the DNC, and I'm not calling those. I'm getting a hold of the right people, and so I think that's the most important thing. The second thing I would say about Prospect Boss that was phenomenal was instead of going wide and looking for every single person and trying to get a hold of more people, I could go deep on those individuals in particular, especially with text message, and then the voicemail drop thing has been game changer as well to help us with open houses. So it was the all-in-one platform that we were looking for, as far as a great dialer, going deep and finding different ways to communicate with people, because it's not just one way. Sometimes calls don't always work. Not everybody picks up their phone anymore. It's weird
Hmm.
numbers. So text message really puts you in front of them. And then the multi-level automations that you guys have, phenomenal, a phenomenal opportunity. And I'm just so excited to see what you guys have in store in the future of the platform.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. So you said the ringless voicemail drops, they work for you?
Yeah, so I've
Oh,
been
that's cool.
actually using that for follow up. And then like if we have an open house, I'll pull a list from the neighborhood and let everybody know that we're having an open house.
Mhm.
So I feel like it's like super, like I don't know, things that I think people don't think about that actually work, you know.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that because when I'm at conferences, especially, I always try to mention the ringless voicemail because it's just a really different product. And like you said, like people aren't answering their phones as much. Even we're using our text messages now, like in the office, to reach out to customers and trying to put in our emails and stuff. If you don't have time for a call, just text us because some people are shy about getting on the phone or like they just don't have time for a call. So yeah, I would agree with that. So I'm glad to hear that you use the other features too, because dial everybody's like, oh, dialer company when they think of us, but we have all those other automations too, which I think, like you said, puts you in front of the prospect more directly.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at like anybody else in the industry as of dialers, it's usually you have to get one separate platform for each. And this
Hmm.
was the first time I was like, oh my God, they have everything we need. Finally,
Yeah.
geez, I've been looking for a company like this forever. Are you kidding me? And so ever since then, I've been just spreading the word to like really close friends in the industry to so they can take advantage of, the opportunity, because getting on the phone is a contact sport. And so the more people you have conversation with, the more opportunities you produce. And that's what you guys were able to do for us.
Yeah, thank you. We try to steer away from just the CRM dialer term and more gravitate into the all-in-one lead generation solution for all the reasons that you just said. So I
Yeah, of
appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
course.
So what what is a good do and a good don't for real estate practices? Something that maybe in general or when it comes to prospecting for someone who is new.
Yeah, so I guess a couple do's would be get with a great company like ProspectBoss,
Thank
so
you.
they could get you in touch with a lot of people, and make sure that you're not forcing people to do anything, because we're not in the
Mhm.
business of convincing people. We're in
Yeah.
the business of helping people if they want to do something. So I think a lot of people get that confused. Make sure you scrub against the DNC, because that's very important in our industry. That way you can avoid getting in trouble.
Yes.
There's also a new form that you guys actually showed me, and I had to fill out for text message. I don't even know what it's called. It's like the 10LC something something.
Yeah, yeah.
Make sure you fill that out. Allow people to hit stop or not interested, and I think those are very important factors that you should look into when you're prospecting, so you don't get in trouble. That's one of the
Mhm.
most important things. And also so these platforms can survive in our industry and don't get in trouble.
Yeah.
um that's the most, I think those are the most important things for sure.
Did you use the DID registration?
I did. That
Yeah.
was another really cool thing that I didn't have to worry about. One of the
Hmm.
most things that a lot of people don't look at when it comes to business is the more hands off you are, the more you have time to like really work on money
Yeah.
making activities. So I didn't have to worry about that with Prospect Boss. I had to just literally, they gave us, I paid them a one-time fee and they registered all my numbers. I even bought more than just the five. I have 10.
Oh,
So
nice. So you should be steering clear.
yeah, so I could stay clear of that
Hmm.
stir shaken, and also I can I could have more opportunities of just the numbers switching. I think that's the future of dialers, and for some of these companies that haven't jumped into that, it's just crazy. It just blows my mind, but that's a whole nother story, you know.
Yeah. Well, good. I appreciate you saying that. But it definitely is a game changer. That's something that we've tried to really advertise and advocate for because a lot of people will think it's just an issue with phones going straight to voicemail, but it's a bigger issue out there than most people can resolve themselves. So, yeah, I appreciate you taking adhering our advice and going for it because it sounds like it's been working in your favor.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, we want to end the call by getting your contact information if anybody is interested in possibly listing their home with you or, joining the agency you're a part of or anything like
Yeah.
that.
Definitely. So, my name again is William Rojas. I'm a realtor here in Central Florida. If you're an agent we have about 11 states open right now, that includes Florida, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Maryland, I think Colorado, Texas. So, we have a couple states that are open right now. You can reach out to me if you're interested in joining a cloud-based brokerage that you don't have to pay anything up front, or you don't have to
Awesome.
pay anything monthly, and they give you a whole bunch of things to generate more opportunities. So if you're interested in that, you can give me a shout at 407-456-3140. And if for some reason you're a client and you live in Orlando, maybe you do some other industry that you guys help with, like insurance or whatever the case may be, happy to help you too if you're selling a house or buying something. um my number is the same, 407-456-3140. Be happy to help you navigate that process for sure.
Thank you. And I appreciate you being on the show today and for being a Prospect Wealth customer as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.